Waivers. What's up, Couch fam? Welcome to my Week 14 waiver wire pickups video for fantasy football. Playoffs are just about ready to start if your league settings are correct. Playoffs are supposed to be week 15, 16, and 17. This is the last week of bye weeks. No more bye weeks after this week. 6 teams are on bye. We have another final bye-mageddon this week. Falcons, Bears, Packers, Colts, Commanders, and Saints are all on bye for week 14. Quarterbacks to add. There's not a whole lot here in your league, but there's been some injuries. So guys like Brock Purdy, good pickup in Superflex. Tyler Huntley, great pickup in Superflex. Not a bad pickup in regular leagues. Sam Darnold's named the starter, and Baker Mayfield is now on the Rams. I don't expect him to play much, if at all, this week, but he'll probably start playing week 15. So number one, we have Jared Goff. Becomes an absolute must-add, even if it's a QB2 and you're in a shallow league. Go add Jared Goff if he's somehow available. I think his name is very unsexy, just not a popular, attractive name to pick up, and that's why he's still not rostered in a lot of leagues. What to expect from Tyler Huntley? It's a question that I've been getting asked the past day. He's produced about 82% of the fantasy points that Lamar Jackson has produced the past year. I expect him to be right around that mark, 80 to 90%, maybe even slightly better than 82% of the fantasy production. That's going to be pretty good. That's going to be about QB 12 in fantasy, so he's definitely worth an add. It's not a huge drop-off in terms of fantasy production when you're going from Lamar to Huntley. Mike White, this is not a new name, and one of the reasons he's not added in virtually every league is because some fantasy managers have given up. It's late in the fantasy season. These are no new names. Mac Jones, couple of good matchups here. I'd be okay with starting him in a super flex league. Matter of fact, I don't really have a choice, so I'm going to be starting Mac Jones in my super flex league. Brock Purdy, not really any drop-off in terms of fantasy points when you go from Jimmy G to Brock Purdy. Now, there is a huge risk, though, when you go from Jimmy G to Mr. Irrelevant. And also, this week is not a week where you want anything to do with Brock Purdy. Going against the Bucs, it should be a low-scoring defensive game. Both defenses are very good. This will be a close one. Could be decided by a field goal. After that, though, Brock Purdy, very interesting. Going against Seattle, not bad. Commanders' defense is pretty good, but I like them. I like the matchup better than the Bucs, actually. And then we got the Raiders' D. So Brock Purdy is a sleeper. Sam Darnold, good matchup going against the Seahawks. He's the starter, at least for now. Russell Wilson, I think this is a great DFS tournament play, but I have no confidence and no faith in Mr. Dangerous. Going against the Chiefs is a great matchup. We know that he'll have to throw the ball in the fourth quarter, probably even the third quarter, going against Mahomes. Mahomes puts up a lot of fantasy points, high-powered offense in Kansas City. Still, the floor is almost non-existent with Wilson. Ryan Tannehill, I originally had this guy ranked way higher. Love the matchups. He's not a bad quarterback, but this team runs through Derrick Henry. Ryan Tannehill has no upside at all, and so I really wouldn't recommend just starting him. And now it's week 14, right? I like to give a realistic, functional advice. It's extensive. It's a lot of waiver pickups. I get it. But just being realistic here, you kind of need fantasy points now. Like, we're not trying to beat like whack teams. We're in playoff mode. We're trying to score a lot of points, and Tannehill's just not going to really do that for you. Still, He is good. He has good matchups, and he has a good floor going against the Jags, Chargers, and Texans. That's 3 back-to-back-to-back matchups that I like for Tannehill. Taylor Heineke should remain the starter. Keep in mind he is on bye, and we talked about Baker Mayfield. Probably worth an add in super deep leagues and super flex leagues if you need a QB4. All right, moving on to running backs. There are some good names here. James Cook is number 1. We're seeing Nyheim Hines get involved a little bit more in the offense, but James Cook has been looking really good. The last game, 14 carries and 6 targets. I remember his season debut, his rookie debut. He fumbled the ball and was kind of benched and in the doghouse for a month or two after that. But he's been pretty efficient, as in when he touches the ball, he breaks off really big plays, similar to a Tony Pollard. So he is basically a must-add in every single league. I just don't see any league where you wouldn't want this guy at least stashed. J.K. Dobbins should be really close to returning. Keep in mind he was not ready last week and will probably be eased into the offense. But once playoff starts, maybe they lean on J.K. Dobbins. Forgot to mention Lamar Jackson. Very, very, very likely that he is out this week and could miss up to 3 weeks with that injury. Zonovan Knight, definitely worth an add. Don't know what's going to happen when Michael Carter comes back, but my prediction is that Zonovan Knight deserves some carries and will probably outsnap Michael Carter. I think he's the better running back, better fit for this team. Could be a 50-50 split between the two. That would make a lot of sense. Cam Akers, I have ranked extremely low, and it's because I don't trust Rams running backs, right? If I did this a week before and I ranked Cam Akers super high on my waivers list, you'd be like, listen, you dummy, we're going Kyren Williams. But now Kyren Williams, you're the dummy for starting Kyren Williams. He got like 1 carry or 3 carries, something crazy like that. He did nothing when Cam Akers had his best game. He almost had 20 fantasy points. So Cam Akers did well. Like I said, I don't trust Rams running backs. Definitely a great ad, but not banking on, I'm not putting my fantasy playoff hopes in a Rams running back and actually starting one of them come playoffs. At number 5, we have Jerick McKinnon. I love having a Pacheco or McKinnon. If one of them gets hurt, the other one will get a huge boost. And this offense is high potent, explosive. I want to apologize last week for my sleeper ad of the week, which was TDP. I was totally wrong on that. Jordan Mason is the guy. He's been looking better. I just thought Shanahan would trust TDP more. But I was wrong. Again, Jordan Mason is the main backup, really the only other relevant, quote-unquote, relevant back behind CMC. He's worth a stash. As of now, he is a handcuff. If CMC were to get hurt, it would be a messy situation. Probably a 3-headed monster with Tevin Coleman and also TDP involved in the backfield. DJ Dallas, I have him ranked super low, even though he could be the only healthy Seahawks running back. It's a messy and fluid situation. Ken Walker might miss this week. Small chance that he's back. I don't know if Travis Homer's coming back, so it's very messy. You want to monitor that. I might have to add and start DJ Dallas in a league if I'm super desperate, but we don't know what the Seahawks backfield situation is and what the situation is with those injuries. And in super deep leagues, Mike Boone is back. Probably will get more and more snaps. And Melvin Gordon could be worth a stash in the playoffs if anything were to happen to McKinnon or Pacheco. Wide receivers, these top 5 are really good ads. That's going to be Michael Gallup, absolute must add in every league. Zay Jones is worth an add. Nico Hollins has been playing well, getting a ton of targets. Brandon Cooks has disappeared this year. Mac Hollins, Isaiah McKenzie, he got 10 targets in week 12 and 5 targets in week 13. That's very noteworthy. His quarterback is good. They like to throw the ball, and they score a lot of passing touchdowns. So Isaiah McKenzie worth an add in deeper formats for sure. Jamison Williams barely got any snaps, got like 0 receptions. I think just 1 target. He didn't really do anything, but he could be a stash. Maybe he comes through for you in the Super Bowl, and that'll be a cool story to tell your kids. Corey Davis, nothing more than a deep league or a low upside ad. I don't really believe in him. Van Jefferson's kind of the number 1 receiver on the Rams. Now that title doesn't sound sexy as of now. And Kadarius Toney could be close to return, but how much do we really trust him? Moving on to tight ends, Greg Dulcich almost finished as the best tight end last week, and now he's going against the Chiefs. Then he's going against the Cardinals, Rams, and Chiefs again. So some really good matchups, some great game scripts, up-tempo offenses with the Chiefs and the Cardinals. So I love Greg Dulcich. Should be rostered in every single league because why? Because there's no tight ends out there. What are you doing? Go add Greg Dulcich ASAP. Yeah, he kind of fell off. We lost faith in him, but now he's back and worth an add. Evan Ingram, wow, something I was right about. I trusted Evan Ingram, actually started him in a couple leagues, and he really came through. Told you guys not to be too scared of him, but hey, it's tight ends. It's unpredictable every week. It's so volatile, but he's worth an add. Darren Waller says he is close to return. Now, I might even rank him a little bit lower. Like, I don't really have that much faith in Darren Waller. Maybe we put my sleeper up ahead. Let's put my sleeper out of the week ahead. I love this guy so much. He's such a good sleeper. There we go. That looks a little bit better here. My sleeper ad of the week, ladies and gentlemen, is Tyler Conklin. Now, I lost and got eliminated from the playoffs because of this. Well, really because of Jimmy G's injury, but also starting this guy. I had Njoku. I had Zach Ertz, both injured, and so we rolled with Tyler Conklin and lost. So, it's a sleeper ad. All right. A lot of people are going to see he scored like 2 fantasy points, only had 2 catches. He did like nothing. But this is what I'm noticing. Mike White threw the ball. Tyler Conklin got 7 targets. Week 14, not the best matchup, but it's another matchup where Mike White will have to throw the ball again. And I also like the backup. The backup's Joe Flacco, who is Tyler Conklin's BFF. Like, we know Conklin balls out when Flacco's there. So if anything were to happen, we got Joe Flacco waiting. We have great game scripts where Mike White's going to have to throw the ball against the Bills. Not a good matchup, though. I'll tell you that. It's not like I have a lot of faith in starting Conklin this week, but I have a lot of faith in adding him. Because peep this. Fantasy playoffs, Lions, Jags, Seahawks, all good. These teams have good offenses, bad defenses, and bad against the tight end position. So 3 great matchups, 3 great game scripts. Absolutely love this guy as a stash. I don't see the team going back to Zach Wilson. So as long as it's not Zach Wilson, I like Tyler Conklin. And even though, man, after Flacco left, this guy is still tight end 14 or tight end 13, depending on your settings. I like him, only rostered in about a third of leagues, and he'll be dropped even more this week. People don't know how to assess tight ends, so they'll just be dropping them left and right and go week to week and keep picking the wrong tight end. And Tyler Conklin is going to be even less rostered this week as people will drop him. All right, moving on to the other tight ends. Like I said, Darren Waller is coming back pretty soon. Taysom Hill is worth an add. Taysom Hill always gets a boost if a tight end or if a running back is injured. So definitely keep tabs on guys like Mark Ingram, Adam Troutman, Juwan Johnson, Kamara. Almost always one of these guys is injured, which boosts Taysom Hill's snaps and opportunities. Foster Moreau, decent add in the short term. Hunter Henry, great matchups here. I would feel comfortable starting him if I was desperate for a tight end going against the Cardinals and Raiders. And in deeper leagues, we've got Noah Fant, Kate Auden, who I like, but a bad matchup against the Niners. And also Cam Brate could be back, which hurts Auden's fantasy production. Daniel Bellinger is back. 5 targets, 5 catches. Not bad for his first game back. And I wouldn't recommend adding any tight ends from the Titans unless you're doing some kind of DFS stack. Austin Hooper is okay, and Chig Okonkwo is okay. For defenses, and guys, I do have defenses for the playoffs coming up soon. But for defenses, look for the Chiefs, Seahawks, Raiders, Cardinals, Bengals, Steelers, Titans, or Chargers. For the playoffs, a lot of the same names here, but I did want to list them. Go ahead and look at the schedule. It's going to vary for you. Some people's playoffs start this week. Some people secured a bye week and their playoffs start week 16 and end week 17. And some rare cases, playoffs go to week 18. So just check on the schedules. I did have some suggestions for you guys. And if you have more suggestions, drop a comment. If I missed any names, drop a comment. If you have any fantasy questions, drop a comment. I read every single comment. But if you're looking for week 15, 16, and maybe even 17, look at some of these names here. Again, it's the Chiefs, Steelers, but keep tabs on TJ Watt's injury. I think that's a huge factor, and that'll probably make or break it for me if I'm actually considering adding and starting the Steelers D. Broncos D, Jets D, Bengals D, Titans D, and Vikings D. I did rank them in order, kinda, but to each his own. Everyone's going to have a different criteria and goal depending on your situation and your league settings and your goals. For kickers, try to get one of these top 5 guys. I mean, top 6 is okay too. I think top 5 is great though. Evan McPherson is elite, even though he's rostered in like 90% of leagues. I still see him on waivers on rare occasion. So Evan McPherson, he's just an elite kicker regardless of the matchup. But this matchup is solid going against the Browns. Brett Maher, that was an anomaly what we saw. We saw like, what was that like? Cowboys scored like 50 points and was like only 7 extra points. It was crazy. 0 field goal attempts. And I think Brett Maher even missed an extra point. So it's truly an anomaly. And we're going to see a very similar game against the Texans where the Cowboys just absolutely dominate at home. But what's good is they will have a lead. They will kick a lot of extra points and hopefully settle for some field goals late in the game. Also, no weather conditions here, no extreme weather. They're playing at home. So I love Brett Maher. I have tremendous confidence in him, even though he was a slight disappointment in a freakish game against the Colts last week. I still like Jason Myers, so if you have him, you may not need to drop him. And Nick Folk is an elite option. Well, I should have put that they play against the Raiders. I think it's at Raiders. Yeah, that's kind of a big deal. So Arizona is the matchup week 14, week 15, Raiders, both elite options. Nick Folk will be elite this week and next week. I think I said that like 5 times in these videos. Number 5, Cameron Dicker, have confidence in him again this week. If you can't get those 5, go for Michael Badgley, Greg Joseph, Robbie Gould. I don't like him this week that much. But after that, I love him against the Seahawks, Commanders, and Raiders. And number 9, we have Ryan Suckup, who I don't like this week that much. But I do trust him as far as accuracy goes. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're subscribed to this video. Make sure you turn on the bell notifications. I appreciate you guys so much. We also have a second YouTube channel. It's called Fantasy Couch Podcast. Go ahead and subscribe to that one as well. Good luck this week. See you in the playoffs, Couch fans.